In my comprehensive courses, students can ask me questions, of course, and a common question is, how can I compare a stock I might be interested in, not only to the broad market, but also to like the smaller industry and sectors within that market? So if I'm looking at, let's say, a drug manufacturer, I don't necessarily want to compare it to Tesla or the broader market. I want to compare it to other drug manufacturers. Is there a way I can do that? And there is, and I'm going to show you a nice free tool that you can use to compare stocks versus its industry and its sectors and its competitors, its peers, and look at different factors in that. I'm going to walk you right through step by step. Again, it's a free resource, and I'm going to show you all that coming up on Investing Education with me, Mr. B. Welcome to the channel where we help you to learn fast so you can become a successful and confident investor. If that sounds interesting to you, hey, do go ahead and hit that subscribe button. All right, so let's take a look at this free tool where we're looking at these different industries and sectors, and I'll walk you right through it step by step and show you a lot of cool things with it too as well. So with that, let's get started, and the tool we're going to use is Finviz. Okay, I'm over here at finviz.com. Finviz, you can put in like stock ticker symbols, lots of good stuff, news, stock screeners, all sorts of good stuff. But to compare industries and sectors, we want to go right here where it says groups, right? So we're going to click on groups, and then it's going to pull up, the performance of these different sectors and these different, sectors. So we've got, this is a one-day performance, right? So when this was recorded, energy was having a great day and real estate was having a bad day. But that's just one day. You can scroll down with these bar charts. And so when you're comparing individual stocks, this is the first thing you're going to see. And you can see there's 3-month performance, half a year, 1 year, year-to-date performance, as far as, where that goes as far as the performance on these bar charts. So you can see year-to-date, energy's killing it at the time of this recording, and other stocks were struggling, or up or struggling quite a bit there. So that's just this bar chart part, so you can get a quick look on there, and you can see there's lots of ads that you'll see pop up at the bottom, by the way. But that's by sector, right? So we're looking at, like a one-day performance for for the overall sectors. And that's where we have all these different industries in here. But if I click on here, I can then choose industry, and it'll break it out by industry. You can see for one day, uranium's up. Uranium's having a great day. And if we scroll down, you can see all these sectors, and this is still the one-day performance. And trucking is so far having not as good a day, right? So that's trucking. So there's your two extremes between uranium and trucking. Maybe if you're like trucking uranium, would you be doing, middle of the road? But then again, you have week and month, and you can see these long sector stuff, because this is all the sectors here. Excuse me for scrolling fast, but you can see, 1 year performance, that, coal is doing well. Look at it, all these different coals and energy stocks, which we saw over the overall, industry or overall sectors that energy was doing well. And then towards the bottom, we've got education, training, gambling, mortgage finance, and all that. So you get the idea that you can look at these bar charts to look at performance to compare your stocks. But you should be saying at this point, well, that's nice, but I want to see more detailed. I want to see like not just uranium or healthcare. I want to see even more detailed. So you can go in here under back under where it says overall industries, but you can zero in on a particular industry, and then we'll drill down even further. So let's take healthcare. Let's say, let's take healthcare. And you can see the 1 day, and again, you have week, month, year. So we'll just keep a day to keep it simple. But you can see that drug manufacturers are up 0.57, where medical facilities are down 1.77 for the day, right? And this is within the industry. But the key in here is all these different, sub-industries, from healthcare plans to biotech and so on, medical devices, and then that keeps going throughout. So overall, medical distribution, all that. So that's where you can kind of look a little bit more detailed as far as, comparing. Maybe you're looking at a drug manufacturer and you want, scrolling faster, and you want to see how they might be comparing to other, drug manufacturers. The year-to-date drug manufacturers are up 3.7 in performance. You could say, well, how's the stock I'm looking at doing, right? But that's only these bar chart parts, right? So if these little ribbon here, you can get even more detail. So if I click under overview, now I'm in industry, in healthcare, and I have all these different all the different segments in there, like biotech, diagnostic research, etc. You can see here how many stocks are each category, their market caps for the average of that category, what kind of dividend they're paying as far as a dividend yield, percentage. We want that number to be higher. So if we look at pharmaceutical retailers, they're at 3.9, low market cap, but they're at, not a big deal, but they're at 3.90, pretty high dividend payer. So if you're looking for a high dividend payer, maybe you're looking at this. So then they give you some other numbers here too, like price to earnings and all that. But then you can keep going on this ribbon and see the same stuff within valuation. Like we look at things like price relative to sales or price to book. And we want something below 3.0 if we're looking at value stocks, especially if it's below 1.0 as super valued stocks. And you can see what's the lowest one here, pharmaceutical retailers again, right? So 1.54 on the price to book, that's the lowest number of these. So there might be some good value plays in pharmaceutical retailers. And then you can click on there and look in even more detail as far as some of the different pharmaceutical retailers here and their statistics and things. So I'm drilling down to individual stocks at this point. But let's go back, and that's valuation. We can look at performance, but instead of those bar charts, which are kind of funky, you can look at it as far as actual numbers, and we can see that biotech, year to date's down 16.5%, as an example, right? The one limitation with Finviz is it's only showing like performance a year for a full year to date, or in smaller increments. They do have a little bit of a paid type version, or type thing. Maybe they'll give you some more, but at least this gives you a start as far as looking at some overall performance numbers. You can also customize some of those ribbons too as well, right? So this is kind of like the standard thing, but if I go under settings, I click on settings, then I can choose, other things to kind of compare and look at. These are the defaults that are kind of checked, but I can change some of these things like sales growth over the past 5 years. I can look at some of those types of things and choose those, or I can just restore it back to the defaults. Again, you have the bar chart, so we saw that. If you like even more funkier charts, you can choose spectrum, and this is, 1 year, everything's like 1 year, or this one is like a 1 year performance spectrum. So you can, if you like fun charts like that, go ahead. But then if you go to charts, this is actually more helpful. You can actually look at the entire, let's say, industry or sector or overall, and see what their chart looks like, their price chart. So this is biotechnology, and this is looks like a 1 year chart, looking at the dates there. You hover it over, it's going to actually give you some more information. If I can hover over correctly. Well, it was giving more and more information. Oh, then I clicked on it. By clicking on it, brought up all the individual charts, right? Now I can go right to the individual charts there for individual companies. But if we look at that, if I hover over it, it'll bring up like how many stocks and give me a little snapshot performance. But if I look at just the chart itself, I can see, okay, that biotech has been in a real downtrend. And then this little line here, if you look here, SMA 50, so this would be like a 50-day moving average. So that's what they give you. You can customize things a little bit more, but for these industry comparisons, that's what you're looking at, is a 50-day moving average, simple moving average, versus like if you're in my technical analysis course where we talk all about charts, it's like a 12-hour comprehensive course all on charting, that you would be able to do like 14-day moving averages or hourly moving averages or 200-day moving averages. You can do a lot more, and we learn all about that and other things too, like looking at things overbought, oversold, etc. But this at least gives you a chart showing the prices for biotechnology and the moving average. By the way, you can see we're in a downtrend, but once it crosses over this moving average, that's actually a buy indicator that we're maybe looking to have a more upward trend. So if you're looking at biotech stocks, that's a good overall thing for the industry for biotech. But this is just healthcare, and then you can go through, there's diagnostic, research, drug manufacturers, generic drug manufacturers, health and information systems, all sorts of stuff. You can then look at their charts, and by clicking on the chart again, you can look at the individual companies and their performance and all that too. So that's handy too. Or you can jump between ones. Like let's say I was interested in, let's do financial, right? So if I do that and I do financial, I do financial, I just have to click the right button. You can see how financials charts are. I was like, so diversified banks. I mean, they're up and down all over the place with things going on with interest rates and inflation. So here we're below that 50-day moving average, really plummeted down, and now it's kind of coming back, and will it pop through that? So this all is sorts of information you can get at both, an industry level, like these are all the different industry things, or at a individual industries or broad industries, that has everything, all in one list here. You can kind of start searching through, or you can certainly look at overall sectors, so which would be like financials, for example, or healthcare, or overall sectors. So it gives you a real interesting way where you can play with this stuff and really start looking deeper and seeing how you can compare maybe your individual, let's say, bank you're looking at versus the entire, let's say, banking industry or financial industry as an example. So that's a good way as far as using Finviz to help with looking at that. So a pretty great tool. Now, one of the downsides of Finviz is that it is really more focused on USA stocks. So if you're looking at international stocks, this might not be the best tool for you. But otherwise, it's really, I think, a very interesting, good free tool. Yeah, with lots of pop-up ads too as well. All right, with that, I wish you all the best in looking for stocks and how to compare them against your industries and sectors. Do check out the description below for the link to the Finviz and also free courses and other good information too. And if you like this kind of stuff, hey, do consider subscribing to the channel. With that, I wish you all the best of luck in your stock and other investments future.